From Ocean City, New Jersey, this is the Philly Podcast, July 31st, 2017. And yesterday I tried to do a Q&A. It didn't really work out. But today um, I'm back, and this is a regular podcast episode, whatever you want to call it. The Q&A kind of went, it turned into shit. But for right now, today is a Monday. It's a regular podcast day. I usually do it at 3 o'clock. Today I'm doing it at 2:30. I want to head to the beach at some point. We'll only be on till about 3. Um, so, yeah, it's going pretty nice. It's going pretty good down here. If you guys listened to the Q&A yesterday, it's going pretty well. I brought all this stuff down for the podcast. Um, Thought it wouldn't hold up. It was kind of a risk, but it ended up holding up and working out. So I mean, I'm kind of happy that it did, uh, so that I can, uh, you know, not take a podcast off. Um, so we'll start with the Phils. They are currently in a game right now against the Atlanta Braves. The ball game started at 12:35, which is really weird for a business person special. If you guys don't know what a business person special is, it's what the Phillies it's what the Phillies call a weekday day game, and they usually call it a business person special if the Phillies are home, and it's usually at 1:05. It's just an weekday afternoon baseball game. But today it was at 12:35, which is weird. I mean, you never see the Phillies play a game at 12:30, but I mean that's what they're doing. I'm glad it's not during the school year, so I can't miss them. But they're winning 5-1. And what has gotten into this team? I swear to God, what has gotten into this team? It all started last Wednesday, when Aaron Nola pitched a great game against the Houston Astros. Went in the Friday against the Braves, pounced on them 9-3. Saturday, they started to slug a little bit, but then they came back and won on Ty Kelly bases loaded single in the bottom of the 11th. Yesterday, they won again in extra. I think it was the 10th. Freddie with a walk-off. And then today, they are just pouncing on the Braves. Odubel Herrera, 3-run home run. Pavetta's pitching pretty nice. And that's what you want to see out of your young pitchers. That's what you want to see. So they're continuing to pounce. The guy Kim that they got at the Hellickson trade from Baltimore has 3 walks so far in the game today. So his National League on base percentage is through the roof, which you like to see. Odubel Herrera, I want to talk about his home run a little bit. I was watching the game a little bit with my dad, and Herrera, the mic. And my dad's like, this guy is a pain in the ass in the batter's box. This guy is a pain in the ass. I'm like, well, I feel like he's going to hit a 3-run home run right here. He's working the pitcher. The pitcher's really starting to, crumble a little bit. Next thing you know, he smacks a 3-2 pitch into the second deck for a 3-run home run. I mean, I'm like, I called it. So I mean, yeah, they're playing very good ball as of late since the All-Star break. They have a 9-7 record. So yeah, it's been pretty nice. I don't know. I picked up a 1993. I went to the boardwalk the other day. I picked up a 1993 Phillies cap. 1993. Here, I'll show you guys. You guys are actually gonna see my face for once. Hold on. 1 second. Look at that. It's just a regular Phillies cap. This is like a lighter color inside brim, and this is all like kind of retro instead of like all black. Yeah, there's my pretty face. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm glad I picked it up. Um, so yeah, for the Eagles, they've been playing. They didn't have practice. Um, Today, no practice, but yesterday in front of 23,000. I mean, I heard they performed pretty well. Um, Next open practice is this Sunday, August 6th at the Link. It is Youth Day. We'll be heading to that. Um, I would have gone yesterday, but I am here in down the shore. Um, so yeah, and then I want to get into this Pete Rose thing. Comes out today that Pete Rose. Let me pull up a report. According to the New York Post, this is a New York Post report. I think at first ESPN first reported it. Yeah, first reported by ESPN. Now this is what the New York Post says. What the fuck? Someone's phone in here. Someone leave a phone here. Okay, anyway, back to the Pete Rose thing. Hold on, someone's phone's ringing. Hold on, I'll be back. Oh boy. I'm back. All right. My apologies. First reported by ESPN. Um, the statement by Jane Doe alleges Rose that she had a sexual relationship with her before she turned 16 in the age of consent in Ohio, where the two lived at the time. The statement is part of John Doe's defense against Rose's defamation lawsuit. Doe was behind the report that ultimately got Rose kicked out of baseball for betting on games while he was a manager, including on those of his own team. That's what kept him out of the Hall of Fame, because Pete Rose, I mean, he gambled, and then as you guys know, next week Pete Rose is going to get inducted into the Phillies Wall of Fame, and they're going to make a whole week. I mean, it's the typical alumni weekend, Wall of Fame, all that stuff. I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, all these reports are just coming out. Um, they advertised it during the game today of the bobblehead game that they're going to have on Friday. The Wall of Fame, how they usually do to promote people to buy tickets for the upcoming series at home and stuff like that. So that's what they did on the broadcast today. However, back to the report. However, this lawsuit is in relation to Doe stating in a 2015 radio interview that Rose committed statutory rape between girls 12 and 14 at spring training. So this is so hold on, back to this. Rose was 34 and married at the time, acknowledged the relationship, but he said he believed it started when she was 16. Because the allegation is past Ohio's statute of limitations, there is no possibility of a criminal charge. Those accounts states that they had sex outside of Ohio when she was underage, something Rose disputes. The lawsuit is still ongoing. More details could come out. Rose refuses to answer more questions relating to whether he had sex with the other high school girls on the grounds of his right to privacy. Rose, who's currently employed as a studio analyst for Fox Sports, through his application for reinstatement, was denied in 2015. Rose retired as number one inducted in their Hall of Fame last season. That's the Reds. He did that. It's kind of fucked up. It's kind of fucked up. I mean, this, you know, Pete Rose. It really comes out that it's true that Pete Rose did this. I mean, that's going to put more shit on the stew for him not being in the Hall of Fame. And I was really excited because I was going to go to the bobblehead game next week. I don't know what the Phillies are going to do with that. They might postpone that whole weekend. They really might postpone that whole weekend for that event. So I mean that's that. I mean, that's just a whole effed up situation that Pete Rose is in. Group chat action. Two brothers says hi. What's up, two brothers? Philly scored another run. I think Altair got another run. He grounded out to the shortstop in the top of the sixth, and the Phillies run scored on that ground out. The Phillies are up 6-1 now, so that's pretty nice. All right, so we're going to turn with our college football previews. We're going to do University of Pittsburgh today, and that's probably going to be it. I'm not doing my Thursday. They're just awful. Before I did AIM, I did Penn State, I did Temple. Rutgers is one, but I'm not going to do them because they're just an irrelevant team. So we're going to do the University of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, before I get into the preview, I mean, they played a hell of a game last year against Clemson in Death Valley. That was a hell of a game. Hell of a game. So we will move into our college football preview with the University of Pittsburgh. Okay. Preview 2017 Pitt Panthers. All right, so Pitt. All right, so Pittsburgh this year. They do not have Nathan Peterman. They do not have James Conner, who are two pretty explosive players. Obviously, Conner being the running back, Peterman being the quarterback. After finishing 10th in the nation and scoring and averaging close to 450 yards per game, it's going to be really, really good, apparently, for this Pitt offense. They have a USC transfer, Max Brown, talented veteran, whose main problem is that he's not Sam Darnold. He should be able to step up right away and get bombing. I'm assuming he was Darnold's backup, and that's why he transferred. There are options if he's not great, but in this offense, he'll probably get plenty of time to work. The biggest issue with the attack, who will replace Darian Johnson and Adam Bissino-Wadey on the left side of the line. The other three starters are back on the offensive line of things, but they will have to work behind. They'll have to work behind, have to emerge. The receiving corps will help make the transition to Brown seamless. Chester Way and Quadri Henderson, when he's not cranking out massive runs in the backfield, should be among the ACC's deadliest in receiving tandems. This is according to College Football News, from USA Today. The running back situation has to be figured out on the fly because there's not a tough guy like Connor. Connor is playing. How about that? I mean, he gets drafted by the Steelers. So he's going to play all his post-high school career, probably most of his post-high school career at Heinz Field and the same stadium. That's like getting drafted by Temple, playing at Temple, getting drafted by the Eagles. You're playing your whole post-high school, most of your post-high school career in one stadium. How about that? So James Conner's a big Pittsburgh guy. I mean, his story is absolutely great with the whole cancer and everything, missing the whole 2015 year, I think. Coming back last year, barely being explosive. They beat Penn State last year. I mean, that was a big one. So yeah, I mean, the running back, they don't have a tough guy like Connor, but Henderson will get a little work. They have Chontez Moss, Darren Hall. They should be pretty good in the running back position. The thing is, with the Pitt offense, can Brown really be good as Peterman was? Peterman's going to be a big hole to fill. I mean, it's not like. I mean, this is a little bias here. It's not like Kaiser getting replaced with Wimbush. I mean, I think Wimbush is going to do a good job over at Notre Dame, but we'll see. Brown is bigger than Peterman. He's 6'5", 230. High character passer and a college quarterback sense. He's a professional who knows how to handle himself. He shouldn't have problems stepping in and shining, but the D is going to struggle again in the passing game. Had better come through. Have to better. Yeah, okay, whatever. The defense. They had the second worst pass defense in the country last year. 333 yards per game and 453 overall. There's talent in the defensive backfield. While there's still problems, at least there's going to be more of a rotation with a deeper pool of options. Choose around Jordan Whitehead. And he's moving from strong to free safety. And Avonte Maddox at one corner. Defensive front has to replace pass rushing terror Ewan Price. Christ. It should be a good front four with the return of Dwayne Hendricks after missing all of last year with two other starters back. Linebacking corps needs the most personnel help with two of the three starters. Two of the three starters, a little bit of depth, and it's gonna be a work in progress. Okay. Pass rush has to be very good, that's the key for the Pitt defense. And they will be a better team if the secondary wasn't so miserable. So that's Pitt. They are going to be. I think they're going to be the same old Pittsburgh. Kind of the same type of team. It's usually over there. So all right. It's 2:48. I'm carrying you guys till 3:00. 2:49 now, so I got 10 minutes left. So the Eagles this year, they were really rapidly approaching the preseason. We're going to really see. We're going to get a better look at Wentz's chemistry with all the receivers. I mean, you really can get a better look because they're actually playing in a game. But obviously the best look will be in that Week 1 game against Washington. because they are playing. Excuse me, they're playing a real game on the road, and I think things can really fall apart. I mean, I think that's the biggest challenge because when you go into a hostile environment, well, I mean, I'm not saying Washington's the hardest place to play. It's not the easiest place to play, especially if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. But it's gonna be. I can see it can. I could see a way it can be frustrating for once to have trouble throwing the ball to the receivers because you're used to the preseason. Nobody gives a shit. Training camp, NovaCare complex, practice field. You're not used to the bright lights or the real thing yet. They have to create a very good secondary from the start. They have to create a very good secondary that week. Or why am I saying secondary? They have to create a very good chemistry, starting with the week 1 game in Washington, transferring that to the week 2 game in Arrowhead, bringing that home week 3 against the New York Giants, and then by the time week 4 hits, you will be set. That's the thing that bothers me the most. I mean, sure, I'm glad that Jordan Matthews is all set. I mean, you need the guys. If you need Matthews and Ertz on the field to help him out in case if he's not doing well, Smith or uh, Jeffrey, because there's a chance that if with Smith and Jeffrey, there could be he can it can be very frustrating if they don't have that chemistry, and that's the one thing that you want with your team is them to fit in well. Everybody to fit in, everyone to get along, everyone of the good chemistry on the field. And that's why I'm so hesitant to predict anything for the Sixers yet, because the Sixers, everyone's claiming that they're going to make the playoffs, they're going to be a playoff team. I damn hope they are. I mean, based on the numbers, they are. But Joel Embiid, Markelle Fultz, J.J. Redick, Ben Simmons haven't even played a game with them, with each other. All 4 of them haven't even played a game with each other. Embiid and Simmons are looked at as the next big future of Philadelphia. They haven't even played one game. You could tell me that they get along off the court. You could tell me that they get along at practice. Things change when you get when you get on the court for a game. Listen, I want the team to do well, just like the Eagles. I want them to do well, but you don't know how they're going to perform together. That's what I'm trying to tell people. You don't know how Embiid and Simmons are gonna play together. You don't. It's not like you're playing 2-on-2 with 2 coaches and Embiid and Simmons playing defense on you, or a 3-on-3 with Fultz, Simmons, and Embiid, or Dario, or somebody. It's a different game. It's a much different game when it gets to the real thing, and I just wanted to make that connection there because you don't know how they're going to perform together. You don't. Now, at the same token, speaking with the Sixers, I mean, there's a chance that they'll have fun together. There is a chance. Same with the thing with the Eagles. There's a chance that they will have fun together. Now, do I think that Carson Wentz will lead this team to the playoffs this year? Sure. But he has to get the players to get along with each other on and off the field. to build the chemistry and the culture take his team to championships. I mean, look, Tom Brady may be the best quarterback of all time. Bill Belichick was probably one of the best coaches of all time. They have that culture of working, of not taking any games off. I mean, he doesn't put his team out. He doesn't put the second team in those week 16, 15, 16, 17 games that don't matter for him. Because you know why? That's how they get to teams prepared for the playoffs. I just wanted to bring this shit up because, I mean, I've just been seeing so much stuff about all this stuff lately, and you know, you got to put that in consideration before you go out on a limb and say, "Oh, the Sixers are making the playoffs. Oh, the Eagles are making the playoffs." There's just a bunch of new people in the city that you don't know how they're going to play. Now, you already know how an individual player plays, but you don't know how they play and connect with all the others. Things change when they hit the court or the field. I'm not saying most times they don't, but sometimes they do. Especially for the Sixers, because you have those young players coming in. You have Simmons who's going to make his debut this year. Fultz, two of those guys that are key parts of the team. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, so I'm gonna go watch the rest of the Phillies game. Thanks for tuning in. It was kind of quick. Well, I'll see if I could do one tomorrow. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no podcast. But we will return back home in the state of Pennsylvania on Monday. After I get out of Jersey, Chris Christie. How about that? Chris Christie confronting a Cubs fan, calling him a big shot in Milwaukee. Why is Chris Christie at a Milwaukee Brewers game? I don't know. They weren't playing the Mets. They weren't playing the Mets. I mean, Cowboys weren't. What was Dallas doing an autograph? I don't know why Chris Christie was there. I really don't. I mean, that guy's probably, and now they're saying he wants a job at WFA and he's trying out for a job. He's not going to get that shit. I mean, he's not going to get the ratings. He is not going to get the ratings up there. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon.